and so we're in episode 3 right now, and I'm just gonna give out a cautionary. If for some reason the stream ends up abruptly ending, that's probably because my computer's really tired. But I did have to eat some dinner. So episode 2 was pretty much Mr. McMahon trying to dominate the wrestling community, I guess. He put out a lot of wrestling companies out of business, and then he worked on WrestleMania, and then he did a second one, and then a third one, and Hulk Hogan ended up becoming one of his biggest stars. But along the way, as time went on, he faced some allegations regarding Rita Chatterton, a WWE referee, former WWE referee, WWF referee actually, and she accused him of R-wording her. I'm not allowed to say certain words, so I'm sorry about that. And she went on TV. I can't remember what. Oh, it was Geraldo. Geraldo saying that Vince McMahon tried to force her into doing sex with him, and she unfortunately I think she got ended up getting blackballed because I've never heard anything about this woman ever since this year, since Janelle Grant, one of his victims, came out. And now it's that Vince did some really bad things to her, which we'll find out in the last episode. And then shortly after that, the Ring Boy scandal, which they didn't really talk about it that much. Um, there was a victim named Tom Cole who tried to sue Vince McMahon, but unfortunately he also settled. And Tom Cole was unfortunately SA'd by three men. Two of them wrestlers, Terry Garvin and Pat Patterson, who is one of Vince's right hand man, one of them. And one of the other employees in WWF at the time, his name was Mel Phillips, and he was a announcer, the guy in the microphone. Well, he he pretty much had a foot fetish from what I heard, and he did some really bad things to little boys, and they mentioned a little bit about it in in the previous episode, not this one. And after that, but since then they just don't talk about it that much. Like they don't really go into further detail about the Rainbow scandal and Rita Chatterton. But I feel like the Rainbow scandal, I think they'll eventually come out more outside of this documentary. I think there's a lot of things that Vince has kept hidden in the closet for so long are finally coming out, but I don't know. It might be this year, it might be next year, but again, I'm just trying to do what I can and report as much as I can and talk about it because I feel like it's important. What else? Oh, they talk about the steroid trials and Hulk Hogan backstabbing Vince, which again, Hulk Hogan, biggest backstabber, and I'll admit I hate Hulk Hogan. I'm not a big fan of Hulk Hogan for personal and private reasons. You guys probably know if you've been watching my channel on YouTube, you probably know why I hate Hulk Hogan so much. But yeah, my friend, a good friend of mine named Rob, he's been kind of, like exposing Hulk Hogan, calling him out for him, doing things that he should not be doing, and what else? Oh yeah, they talk about the WCW competition a little bit, and that's pretty much it. But I'm gonna get started to this episode. I don't think there's any trigger warnings unless it's Chris Benoit and you have mental health issues. Then yeah, but I'll let you guys know. I don't know if episode 3 will mention it, but I'll just again I really want to watch this documentary just to keep an open mind, and I know for a fact a lot more is gonna come out regarding Vince. Who knows? He might get the same treatment like Pete Diddy, or if he's lucky, he might get Jimmy Snuka out of the situation. Oh yeah, they did mention Jimmy Snuka for a little bit, but not so much. But if you want more further details about Jimmy Snuka, just go to the Dark Side of the Ring episodes. I know some of them might not be like very informative at times, but if you could check them out on Hulu. But if you want to check them out for free for whatever reason, Go on Tubi, Tubi. It's available for free, but there are ads. I don't know how much episodes they have of Dark Side of the Ring in there, so I haven't really watched Tubi in a long time. I'm just letting you guys know. Richter, in case you guys don't know, she was a woman that faced the Fabulous Moolah in WrestleMania. I think with Cyndi Lauper by her side, and she won the title. But unfortunately, weeks later, she got screwed like Bret Hart, and Moolah ended up getting the title again because Fabulous Moolah, if you didn't know, she supposedly did a thing outside of wrestling where she had a wrestling school, and she allegedly had her trainees do things that were not included in the wrestling school, and a lot of so basically Moolah was a p word, pi. It rhymes with limp, like Limp Biscuit. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of Fabulous Moolah either, by the way, in case you're wondering.
A match, so you don't want to fire someone.
Like the OG screw job before Bret Hart got screwed himself.
They're expecting a match, so you're screwing the public then. So get the match in the ring, as my dad used to say, and then you figure it out.
Bell's gone, and we're underway in this title matchup.
The match is in the ring, and Wendy has a championship, and it's really easy. Somewhere in this match, Wendy's gonna get rolled up. Told the ref simply, just count to 3.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up Vince McMahon. He didn't really care about the women's division until Triple H and Stephanie were in charge of it and made it a lot better and a lot, I wouldn't say easier, but a lot easier to obtain opportunities for the women. And you'll see that a lot with this documentary of how Vince treats women, like especially during the WWE Divas era. I don't like calling them divas because I feel like they're a lot more worth than divas.
Today, McMahon
Like, I'm trying to be fair with Vince, but God, he just makes it so hard.
was upstaged by his former...
Maybe he did feel a little bit bad for Vince. I think he was trying to make points, like trying to get pointers and get on Vince's side again. Do you guys think Vince McMahon really gave drugs to people? Because I think that doctor probably recommended drugs. Like, he was probably one of those salespeople, like, oh, get this, then you'll be stronger. I feel like the doctor was kind of sketchy, in my opinion.
I remember Linda going like, the case proved we didn't have a steroid problem. And it's like, no, the case proved by all testimony that most of your guys were on steroids and your biggest stars were on steroids. That's what the case proved. They're going to try to portray him as the good guy, but
Unfortunately, a lot of the wrestlers did do steroids.
it's like Vince was the bad guy. He wasn't...
Go get him, champ.
That's a weird promo. I mean, I think Brett kind of should have taken that mantle. Or if not, maybe Shawn Michaels. Well, actually, Shawn Michaels during that time was not a good person.
Wow.
Underage girl at a hotel. I wonder who that was meant for. I think I know who he was trying to attack. Any guesses?
I mean, I cut these crazy deals when I first walked in, and it was
And WWF ended up buying WCW later on.
like
They just got really greedy. That's the problem with WCW.
dying and going to hell.
We had been
Eric really likes to brag how much he beat Vince during that time.
You're a good man.
I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons why he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. Especially, well, that and what happened to Miss Elizabeth, too.
That with these guys was handshakes, not a question of a contract expiring. I just had handshakes. It had worked for you now.
So I had the ability to do.
Wow, world whining fit. Yeah, it's pretty obvious Eric loved to shove it in Vince's face. I mean, I'm not a Vince fan either for what he did recently, but dang, that's just really flexing it right there.
Do things that might come 1,000 people in the arena.
And also, I think it's pretty obvious that that WWF was living rent free in Eric Bischoff's head, talking how much he hates it. Oh, WWF, they're lame, they suck. Oh, we're not as bad as WWF. Eric Bischoff's another person who also has a really big ego, especially during that time. I don't know about right now, but whatever.
Do next week.
Yeah, but basically WWF was living rent free in your head.
Live on their
Yeah, AEW. There's this company called AEW. They were doing the same thing as well, trying to get into WWE's bad side, but I don't think it worked. Or maybe it still is. I don't know, but they're not doing so great either. A lot of people keep calling AEW as the new WCW.
show throws it in the trash.
That was upsetting. It was like, oh my God.
That's so sad. They were like really good friends, and then Eric just comes in and kind of just pokes the bear and just makes it worse for them. That must suck. Yeah. There's a thing called Who Killed WCW? I don't know if you guys want to watch it. A lot of people said they didn't like it that much. I thought it was, okay. But, I don't know, I mean, you could tell that Eric Bischoff really just loved to rub it in Vince's face.
Because they were
Wrestling that day. That was when wrestling wasn't real anymore.
I'm pretty sure Bret Hart was like, oh, yeah, they suck. I think he still hates Shawn Michaels a little bit.
Everybody who's involved in the con agrees to maintain this reality.
What the heck?
Kayfabe is basically
A bunch of old men hitting a wrestler. What the heck? That was so weird.
By a con artist, where everybody who's involved in the con
I don't know, this is funny.
agrees to maintain this reality.
kayfabe is basically keeping the illusion that it
They're
Like,
like
they
casually
know.
Wait, Undertaker's right there. They're like casually playing arcade games, not video games. Yeah, these wrestlers, they took kayfabe. Kayfabe? I thought it was kayfed. But it's kayfabe. Really seriously.
That I'm a real person. I always wanted.
becoming this antiquated thing. Like, yeah,
Like, I know sometimes when some wrestlers are in kayfabe, it doesn't often work really well because sometimes they just use it as a way to be a jerk in real life. Kind of like method acting in a way.
everybody knew. In that particular case, it was Hunter.
Wow.
So at that point in time, I was supposed to win King of the Ring, and that's all gonna
What a trooper. Although I still think Shawn, Kevin, and Scott should have got punished a little bit for that.
go away.
He didn't force Triple H to eat the same way as... Ugh. I don't want to talk... Okay.
to adapt.
I don't know about you, but Scott's eyes in that promo were so cartoonishly evil. There was just something about those eyes. I thought the NWO were like really just big jerks in my opinion. I thought they were so rude. A lot of people really like them though, but I don't know. I thought they were way too. Well, it's because I'm not a heel person. I'm not much of a heel person, but they were very iconic though during their time.
Showing up.
I mean, I could understand. I mean, he really likes to brag. Eric Bischoff, by the way, he really loves to shove it in.
Of
I mean, I hate to be that person, but I kind of feel bad for Vince a little bit in this part. I mean, just imagine you're trying to have the biggest company, and then this other company comes in, and they're pretty much like having you live rent free in their heads. Like they're always like they're always thinking about you, trying to make you so mad, and then like all of a sudden they're starting to. Yeah, I could relate to that. I'm kind of going through the same thing as well with someone. Not it's not someone you guys know, but it's well, it's mostly personal. That's all I'm gonna say. And mostly because they're bad people. I think they're bad people. This situation, I don't know. I kind of feel a little bit bad for him, but again, you know, this is past Vince. I don't feel bad for current Vince, other than, you know, him not being able to walk right now, I heard.
Vince did the
No, but then again, Vince gives Eric Bischoff his karma, and I think he really did the karma too much on poor Eric. You'll find out why.
Exact same. It'll hurt my competitor. And that's not my.
I think he hated Ted Turner. But I think he's dead now, Ted Turner. I don't know much about this guy.
I want to go
Ted Turner.
compete.
You didn't look at what Ted.
Well, just say it, Vince. Just say it. You could say it. Ted Turner was hurting my feelings, and I didn't take it really well that time. And so I was trying really hard to compete against him. I'm pretty sure he feels pretty bad about it.
And
I think he literally wanted to hurt Ted. Which I get it, you know. I mean, it's always like that with rivalries and enemies. You always want to hurt one another, which is not a good idea, but unfortunately that's how it is in competition. You want to beat the competition, you have to hurt them in a way. Which, in this case, I don't know. It's very confusing. But, I mean, WCW was gonna go bankrupt anyway. All that money they
the
spent.
public doesn't understand. It controls thought process by doing that.
Very true. And you gotta make sure it doesn't take over your mind like, oh, I'm gonna get back at these people so good, they're gonna wish they never messed with me.
Vince's
I think, and I know I've been kind of like giving like praise to Vince for some weird reason, but I think Vince did better than I did. I mean, to be honest, there are times where I just cannot, like, I will say this, there is someone that I'm trying to beat, but it's kind of hard because it's like you're up against a group of people and you're just a solo person. So there's really not much one can do alone. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, competition's hard, man. It really does take a toll on your mind. But, I mean, what he did to Eric later in the years, not okay, man. I know Eric's kind of full of it sometimes. Looks like it in this episode. Especially on the Who Killed WCW, but he didn't deserve to get treated that way on Raw.
In this hostile takeover.
We have a third person, we have a sixth person, we have a ninth person, 100th person. It's like, okay, just tell us already. You don't need to be so suspicious all the time. It gets really old.
the biggest baby face.
Do you think Hulk Hogan might have done it on purpose? Because I know at one point Hulk Hogan and Randy, they were really close. But then Randy's relationship with Miss Elizabeth wasn't doing so well. And then like Hulk didn't watch her like Randy would have wanted him to watch her. And he got really mad that it ended. It kind of almost ruined his friendship with Randy.
The biggest moment.
Yeah, and the worst part of that is that Hulk Hogan ended up taking a lot of creative control, and that didn't work out good for Eric in the long run.
A career.
The one to turn Hulk Hogan.
And unfortunately, that ended up happening with John Cena as well. Once John Cena became champion. I mean, he was heel at one point, but then once John Cena became champion, it was mostly good guy John Cena. And now that John Cena is supposed to be doing his farewell last year in wrestling, I think next year, a lot of people are thinking, man, I wish John Cena would have been heel just for once. But unfortunately, that never it might not happen. I don't know. Maybe it might happen, but it's hard. I don't think it's going to happen because that's kind of hard considering John Cena might be retiring pretty soon by the end of 2025.
Heel.
But what sucks is
I went out there and I wheeled that promo.
around WCW, Hulk was kind of a big bad guy because he walked out on WCW and I don't know, it's just a lot of complications going on during that bash at the beach. Not this one, but I think the year after that.
From my hip.
Certain times
Wow,
where
that's a lot
the
of
human being
trash.
gets hurt.
I mean, it's not that bad compared to ECW where they had like people throwing a bunch of steel chairs in the ring. I'm like, where the heck did all these chairs come from?
With Hogan,
W.O.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not a really good person when it comes to this stuff, but I thought the NWO were bullies. Even though, like, I started watching when WWE had WWE Network, I watched a little bit of it, and I thought, wow, these guys were the biggest jerks. I just don't like bad guys. I'm sorry. I know Paul Heyman made a promo about it, like, everyone loves a bad guy. Not me. I'm like that 1% that doesn't like bad guys. Except the Joker. I think that's the only bad guy I like. The Joker and Green Goblin.
Here we
Although Thanos, he's a pretty good bad guy, but I still have hatred towards him.
Nothing anyone ever
He
seen.
got a replica of his own
And
head.
they started kicking our ass week after week after
I'm pretty sure Hulk Hogan made out with it.
week. He didn't look back for 83 weeks.
And that's how Eric Bischoff called his podcast 83 Weeks. Don't believe me? Go on YouTube. You'll see it that Eric Bischoff has a podcast dedicated to him beating WWF Raw at the time.
83 straight weeks.
I mean, it kind of is now. Because, I mean, they went bankrupt a couple weeks later.
For us to no way we thought we could lose.
I mean, Sting was cool. I'll say that. I love the Crow Sting. That was my favorite gimmick.
Not only are they kicking
Well, it's because I saw it through the online, not because I never knew about WCW until like I started watching WWE. I'm like, who is this WCW they keep talking about?
our butts in the
organization.
Well, yeah, cause you guys were still living rent. Well, basically Vince McMahon and WWF were still living rent free in your heads. No offense. I'm pretty
Because
sure
I-
he wanted to be in there. He's like, I want to be cool like NWO.
was running WCW.
I think he was trying to pull Mr. McMahon there, because I know Mr. McMahon, he inserted himself to be like a character in WWF, and I think Eric was trying to pull the same thing as well.
Then the guy that
Wrestling Federation.
And maybe Ted Turner was living rent-free in Vince's head as well.
was Vince McMahon going,
Man, the myth, the legend.
and I didn't get the job. I was very disappointed.
He was probably...
Did you regret not hiring?
I'm pretty sure he had a vendetta for years about that. He was probably like, hey, that's what you get for messing with me, Vince. Hey, I beat you. Na 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 na. It kind of seems like that. Oh, God. I swear to God. Probably not.
I don't think I regret anything in my life.
Are you sure about that, Vince? I think he's just too scared to admit it. It takes a lot to get Vince to convince stuff and come out and talk about personal issues. And I agree. I
belong to
think
you, you
that
didn't.
Brett should have relinquished that title. I mean, look, that's why Vince was very up about it because of what Medusa did. That's what I heard. That because of Medusa taking the title to WCW and then burning it in the trash can, it really made Vince angry. But I mean, it was basically for ratings. WCW, they just wanted to get the ratings.
You should drop the title.
It was still messed up what he did to Brett, though. The screw job.
to somebody before he.
Because Shawn Michaels was a real jerk. Like, he was pretty much doing anything he can to be Vince's you-know-what. And Vince did everything for Shawn, and, you know, Shawn was addicted to drugs, and then he realized he was kind of a jerk. He might have also slept with Sonny. He did a lot of things really bad. He was really just... I don't know, a lot of people said he was a really bad person in the 90s. And Brett didn't want to give his title to him. He'd rather give it to someone else. Which... I mean, I kind of agree, but... in a way, Vince should have never, like, screwed Brett like that.
And they would go off script.
He also cut a promo about supposedly saying that Bret Hart cheated on his wife with Sonny by saying, "Oh, sunny days," but it turned out not to be true but I heard it upset Bret's wife at the time.
Brick.
See, I told you.
I came close to punching Sean.
Like, Even Sean admits he was a total jerk back then. But I'm glad he's in a better place now. Hopefully he is.
On out of quite a few times. Do it for him.
Wait, what? Wait, so Triple H and Shawn Michaels were involved with this thing after all?
I met Vince when I was 23 years old. I've spent more time with him
Than I have with my own. Oh, that's kind of dark.
than I have my own father. I get emotional about it because it's,
You and Vince had a thing. Is that right, Sean? Well, I'm not gonna hold it against him.
I put him through a lot championship, and I made sure that happened.
Dang, that was rough.
Day of, I was told.
So Vince, Sean, and Triple H, they all had this idea of screwing Bret in his hometown. Damn, that's not nice. No wonder why Bret Hart has a grudge.
Told that it was.
The referee who did this match, he said that he felt so much guilt for a long time because of that match. That he was afraid to talk to Bret Hart. But I think they eventually made amends.
Was mine.
And then you got
Brett
spat
obviously
on.
didn't like that.
Bullseye.
That was a good one.
Right into my eye.
Oh, it was nasty.
That was gross, but nonetheless, I thought, damn.
Aw, he's having thoughts about his brother. That's so sad. I'm not being sarcastic, by the way.
15 years I've given Vince McMahon 100% every night. I've bled for him. I've took front turnbuckles at 100 miles an
Welcome to work. That's how it is in every job nowadays.
hour to the
So they knew. God, man. That's messed up. How dare you, Triple H? I worshipped you. Not kidding. I heard he was kind of egoistic too back then. I still love you though.
and say I knew nothing about this.
Someday God is gonna strike you down.
And she ain't lying about that. Years later, it took so long. And sadly, they divorced in 2002. But I mean, it was mostly Vince's fault. I personally, Sean was kind of a jerk in the 90s, and Triple H, I don't know. I mean, what he did to China, somewhere after they broke up, and then he got with Stephanie McMahon later on. That's something a lot of people still held him against today. What happened to China? Wait, let me check something. Okay. But still, I mean, it should have never happened, especially in your hometown. That's messed up. I just wish it didn't take that long, though.
Pissed that they did things this way.
I sort of owed Brett something.
Yeah, you did.
Walking in that locker room in
As much as Vince deserved that hit, he got hit really bad.
Montreal.
It kind of reminds me of a Pokemon move, because I remember I used to watch Pokemon, and I remember there was a Pokemon named Combuskin, and he would do like, or they would do like a sky uppercut, and they would like grab their hand and just smack them right around their neck area.
Hit the bell.
I'm pretty sure. No wonder why Brett's considered a technical wrestler, like a really good one, because obviously he knew what he was doing. He got really mad that day. I mean, the one-shot spit thing and now the punch.
As hard as I could. Night.
Oh.
I'm limping around, and like, oh my God,
I mean, he kind of did this to himself.
stars.
Wait,
They
what?
gave me a whole
Wait, he doesn't
The
regret it?
Montreal Screw Job, as it was called, and to this day, I don't regret.
Oh, come on, Vince. You know, it's okay to have like one regret, although it's never okay to do stuff that you're gonna regret later in life, though. I'm pretty sure he does. I mean, why else did he allow himself to get punched by Brett like that? Admit it, Vince. You regret it. You feel bad.
Any of it.
And this is where the character Mr. McMahon was born. This is where Vince decided to input himself in the storylines and call himself Mr. McMahon. Which is why, this documentary is called Mr. McMahon. Well, one of the reasons. Okay, so that's pretty much episode 3. Episode 3 focuses more on some of the wrestlers getting screwed. Like Wendy Richter was one of the first ones, and then Bret Hart. I think there was another screw job that happened a long time ago. I can't remember what it was, but I do remember doing it on my video of the Montreal Screw Job in the Dark Side of the Ring episode. And yeah, I mean, I feel pretty bad for Bret, especially what's gonna happen a year, 2, 3 years later. If you know, you know. I think it was messed up what Vince did. I think Vince, Shawn Michaels, and I hate to say this, Triple H were in the wrong. Mostly Vince and Shawn. I don't think it was a good idea, but I understand why they had to do it because of what Medusa did in WCW. Now, I'm sorry if I'm pointing the fingers at Medusa, but I mean the whole thing about the trash and burning the WWF Women's title, that took it way too far, obviously. But they made a big joke out of it later in life, recently when they had the 24/7 belt and Nikki Cross threw it in the trash. Yeah, that was kind of ironic. I personally give this episode a 7 out of 10. I mean, really not much information other than the fact that I thought it was just Vince McMahon's idea and Bruce's idea, but I guess Shawn and Triple H kept it to themselves for a long time. We kind of get different perspectives about Vince showing face, like, or what did they say? Like showing something about selling, And I don't know. I think maybe Vince, deep down, he probably did hated Eric Bischoff and found him really annoying at one point. I mean, if someone like that were to do that to me, I think I would be so annoyed. I'd be like, oh, shut up. But, yeah, Eric Bischoff's also kind of full of it himself, especially during that time. I don't know about now. I mean, a lot of people, wrestling journalists, like to say that Eric Bischoff's kind of full of it. I mean, he does have a podcast called 83 Weeks dedicated to beating Mr. McMahon on YouTube and on Spotify, I guess. It was okay. So sorry. What's the next episode? Let me check. So we have 3 more episodes. This is the Attitude Era. I think this is the next episode. We'll talk about not Bret. I think this next episode they will probably talk about Owen Hart's death, which was really sad. A lot of people have speculated that Mr. McMahon did it to Bret Hart, like had Owen killed to get back at Bret Hart, which I don't know about that. I mean, I don't think he would do that. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think Mr. McMahon would do something like that. I mean, maybe the Mr. McMahon character, but Vince McMahon, I don't think so. Who knows? But yeah, I feel bad for Bret Hart, especially the coming years later on after, he left WWF. Yeah, Shawn Michaels was not a good person during that time. I would really like a deep dive about Shawn Michaels' attitude during that time, because a lot of people have said he was a jerk during that time in the 90s. Like, he was all show off, and there's rumors going around that Vince and Shawn Michaels might have had a thing, which I really hope that's not true. I really hope not. But we'll find out. Eventually, if he ever gets indicted or anything like that. But if you want to, you could like, subscribe, follow, whatever you usually like to do, or donate if you'd like to. I'm gonna let my computer rest for a little bit, and then after that, oh dang, I exited. And after that, I'll come back for episode 4. Maybe I'll try to hurry up whatever I'm doing. But thank you guys for watching this stream, and see you on the next one. Bye, guys.